The first clue came from a phone call no one expected. I remember it because the voice on the other end was calm. Too calm. "Detective, I think my brother is dead. But don't call the police, not yet." Family secrets always start small. A misplaced document, a hushed argument, a locked drawer. But they grow. And in this case, they grew into murder. The house belonged to the Whitakers. Big, brick, the kind of place children grow up in thinking the world is safe. Manicured lawn. White shutters. No one guessed the danger hiding behind closed doors. The first victim was Mark Whitaker, the middle child. 25. Found lying face down in the library with blunt force trauma to the back of his head. The weapon wasn't in the room. No blood trails beyond the scene. Everything suggested someone wanted him found, but not too fast. I walked through the library carefully. Floor polished. Books on shelves aligned neatly, except for one row of thick volumes that had been moved. Dust disturbed. Fingertip smudges on the spines. The kind you notice only when you're looking for them. Family members said the usual things. He had enemies at work. We're shocked. It must have been a robbery gone wrong. None of it fit. The front door showed no signs of forced entry. Nothing taken. Not a single valuable missing. I started with the immediate. The blood. The angle of impact suggested a left-handed strike. Mark was right-handed. Whoever hit him wanted to control the narrative. Control is always a red flag. Then there was the hidden clue in plain sight. A small, folded note found in the desk drawer. Written in shaky handwriting, "Don't trust anyone in this house." I thought about that sentence for hours. Family secrets are rarely written down. When they are, it's a warning. Sometimes it's a confession. Next, I turned to the family. Parents were polite, calm, overly polished. Siblings whispered in corners. Too many lies floating in the air. Too many half-truths. The kind that choke a room. I noticed subtle things. The father's watch, always right on time, now a minute fast. The mother's perfume, faintly off from yesterday's scent. The eldest sister, Claire, fingering a necklace she never wears. Every detail mattered. Nothing was random. In the kitchen, I found another clue. Coffee cup. Still warm. Fingerprints partially wiped, but one faint print matched a family member. That's when the story began to make sense. Not all killers are strangers. Most are hiding in plain sight. The house itself was a map of secrets. Locked rooms, sealed cabinets, closets no one had entered for years. One hallway had a faint scent of bleach. Another smelled of mildew. In forensic terms, scents tell stories. Here, they whispered of panic, cover-ups, and deliberate concealment. I began reconstructing the timeline. Mark was last seen at 8:15 p.m., going to the library after an argument with Claire about inheritance. Neighbors reported hearing nothing unusual, though the walls were thin. Footsteps could easily be mistaken for the hum of a late-night television. That's when I found the hidden panel behind the grandfather clock, with slightly warped hinges loose. Inside, old photographs, letters, and a diary that had been carefully preserved. Pages described disagreements, betrayals, and fear. Fear of what would happen if the truth came out. The diary mentioned a family dispute from years ago, something the parents had buried, an incident of fraud, threats, and a promise never to speak. It ended with one chilling line, underlined 3 times, "Some secrets are deadly." That's when I understood. This wasn't random. This wasn't a burglary. This was punishment. Mark had stumbled onto something he wasn't meant to see, and someone decided he needed to be silenced. Forensics confirmed it. Hair fibers, partially removed but found on the floor. Trace blood under fingernails, cleaned but detectable with luminol. Fingerprints deliberately smudged. Every move calculated, precise. The kind of planning that only someone who lived in the house could manage. By the time I left the Whitaker residence that night, the air was thick with tension. The family's eyes followed me. Suspicion had already begun to fracture them. They didn't need me to tell them who the killer might be. They already feared each other. In this house, everyone had a role. Some had masks. Some had secrets. And one person had crossed the line from protecting a secret to committing murder. The question wasn't if I'd find them. The question was whether they'd let me. Because in families, loyalty is a weapon. And secrets are sharper than knives. The next morning, the Whitaker house looked like a normal family home again. Lawns mowed. Curtains drawn. Yet inside, the air felt heavy, thick with fear and whispered accusations. I returned with the forensics team. The hidden panel behind the grandfather clock wasn't just a hiding place for letters and diaries, it was the beginning of the story. Dust swirled as we carefully lifted the contents, revealing a pattern of deception, betrayal, and silent threats that had been festering for years. Mark's discovery wasn't accidental. Someone in that house had left a trail, almost expecting him to find it. Letters detailing financial misdeeds, bribes, and threats. Photographs that contradicted the official story of family trips and gatherings. A family secret too dark to ever see daylight until Mark tried to. I questioned the family again, this time with evidence laid bare. Their composure began to crack. The father's confident tone wavered. The mother avoided eye contact. Claire, the eldest, sat stiff, hands clenched, whispering under her breath when she thought no one was listening. The breakthrough came from a small, overlooked clue, a faint smear of blood on the underside of a drawer handle. Initially dismissed as accidental, lab results revealed it matched another family member. Someone who had tried to cover it up but underestimated forensic technology. Piece by piece, the timeline emerged. Mark had confronted Claire about missing funds from the family trust at 7:50 p.m. An argument escalated by 8:10 p.m. in the library, witnessed only by the walls. The fatal strike landed at 8:17 p.m. from behind, with a marble bookend he hadn't seen coming. The scene meticulously staged to look like an accident. The handwriting on the note I found in the desk drawer? Claire's. The partial fingerprints on the coffee cup? Hers too. She hadn't planned to kill Mark, or maybe she thought she wouldn't, but anger, fear, and a lifetime of secrets had collided in a perfect storm. When confronted, she tried to rationalize it. He shouldn't have gone through our things. He didn't understand. But the evidence told a different story. Premeditation didn't need grand gestures. It existed in the subtle preparations. The careful wiping of surfaces with industrial cleaner. The slightly warped panel that hid the diary. The precise placement of objects to suggest an accident. Each act deliberate. Each move designed to obscure the truth. The parents claimed ignorance. They said they hadn't known Claire's actions would escalate. But silence is complicity. They had maintained the house of secrets, the hidden truths, for years. That foundation of lies made the crime possible. By the end of the day, Claire was arrested. The room was silent. No screams, no protests. Just the weight of reality settling over the family like a dark cloud. The trial was tense. Family secrets spilled in court, letters and photographs introduced as evidence. Witnesses described a household ruled by unspoken rules, obedience enforced by fear, and loyalty measured in silence. Claire's defense leaned on age, familial pressure, and emotional duress. The prosecution presented meticulous forensic work, fibers, blood, fingerprints, and the hidden diary, all pointing directly to her. In the end, the jury ruled her guilty of manslaughter and reckless endangerment. The parents were charged with obstruction of justice. Their silence had protected Claire long enough to let a murder happen. After the verdict, the house sat empty for months. Neighbors said they heard noises at odd hours, lights flickering where there should have been none. Some claimed they saw shadows moving behind curtains, as if the house itself remembered the crime. Families are complicated. Loyalty can be deadly. Secrets, when left to fester, can destroy the people they're meant to protect. If you're listening to this story and thinking it couldn't happen in your family, remember, the quietest houses often hide the darkest truths. Evidence doesn't lie. People do. This is Detective Tabby. The Whitaker file is closed, but the warning remains. Never underestimate the secrets someone will protect and the lengths they'll go to keep them hidden. Call to action asterisk. If this story made you pause, share it with someone you trust. Talk about it. Because silence is what allowed this family secret to turn deadly. Subscribe to Silent Evidence Files for more investigations where evidence speaks louder than words.